Hey ladies, welcome to your cutting tutorial for the cute little Valentine's gnome. So by now I hope that you have watched the videos and you've learned what a template is. And I'm going to show you exactly how my template looks. This is the way your template should look once you printed it out and you pieced your papers together like you would a puzzle. And then you actually cut around the outside line of our design. Now, okay, I'm gonna give it just a few seconds and let's see if anybody wants to hop on with us. Today I'm gonna be showing you my jigsaw, my drill or my Dremel, and my sander in the wood. So if at any point, if you have any questions, y'all comment below. Hopefully I'll be able to see them, and if not, then I will be sure to answer your questions, I promise. But sometimes with Zoe's phone, I cannot see comments for some reason. So this is what you're going to use to actually get your design onto your wood. I've already traced mine on my wood. So you're simply going to take this pattern. This is a template pattern. I guess that's old school to say pattern. It's now template. You're going to take your template and you're going to place it onto your wood. Now, I do want to give you a little bit of advice about placement on your wood. This is a piece of wood. I've already cut one out, so therefore I don't have enough space to really put this gnome where I would normally put it. If you've noticed on your wood, wood has wood grain. If you try to cut against your wood grain, you're going to get more splinters. But if you can get your template on your wood grain where you have like your longer pieces of cuts to go with that wood grain, that's going to make for smoother cuts. Unfortunately, you know, our templates, our designs, we have some funky kind of shapes. It's not just a straight square or whatever. We've got curves and turns, and so it's almost impossible to get every cut on a design to go towards like with your wood grain. So if it's okay if you have to, you know, turn against that wood grain, but try your best. Like if this piece of wood right here was not cut already, I'm going to show you how you know which way your wood grain's going. So on this wood here, this is the tri-ply. It's the 1/4 inch tri-ply. This is the type of wood that I use. I prefer this over the Revolution plywood. To me, it's smoother and it's not as dark. There's not like with the Revolution plywood. Around here, a lot of times one side has a red tint to it. This one does not. The tri-ply don't have red at all. But to figure out like which way your wood grain's going, can y'all see this wood grain on this wood? It's going up and down this way. So therefore, if this was a whole sheet of wood, hey Tammy, I would take my template and I would probably take it and put my hat so I can cut it with the wood grain, because that's gonna make it a smoother cut. Hey Miss Terry, but unfortunately this is a piece that I had to cut to fit into my car. So I'm having to cut like my hat against the wood grain. If the grain was going this way, you know, then you would turn your template that way. But that just, to me, that helps with smoother cuts. So the only thing I've done is I've laid my template down. I use one of these big old chunky pencils. It's like my first pencil, y'all. This is what I use. You can use a carpenter pencil. You can use chalk. I just always use a pencil when I'm actually tracing the design onto my wood. You lay your template down on top of your wood. A lot of times I will get a piece of Scotch tape and tape my template down in certain areas, just so when I'm tracing it, I don't have to worry about my template shifting on me. But if you notice a little bit of shifting, stop, get it back in place, get it lined up with the lines that you've already got drawn on your wood, and just line it up the best you can. If it don't wind up looking right, I guess you can, you know, start over. But that's all you got to do to get your template on your wood. Once you have your template looking like this, put it down there, trace just the outside of your template onto your wood. Now, some people do take the graphite paper, they don't like cut it out like this. They leave it just completely whole, and they put the graphite paper down on their wood, and then they trace it with the graphite paper up under there, and they go ahead and they get all of their inside cuts or their inside lines before they even cut their piece out. You can do that. I just don't do it that way. I wait until I get it cut out and about ready to paint, and then I put my graphite paper and I do my inside lines. All right, any questions so far? All right, so tri-ply 1/4 inch wood. Pencil for tracing. My jigsaw, y'all, this is a very used jigsaw. It's even lost its color because there for a couple of years, y'all, I cut on my front porch. Now I'm cutting in what was going to be my cut room, and my husband started planting sweet potatoes, and so now when he plants his sweet potatoes, he puts them in here with my cut and stuff. So it's a cutting room / sweet potato room. But this is a D-wall, and it's this bright color yellow, y'all, but it looks pale yellow on this side because it's laid on my porch and got sunlight and rain and everything else. This is my baby. I absolutely love this jigsaw. I love it so much, I won't even try another jigsaw. And I mean, that's probably not a good thing because it's always good to try different things. But when I find something that works really well for me, I'm pretty much sold on it, and that's all I'm going to do. So this is the only jigsaw I've had. I've had this one and one other one. And when I first started, I had an old cheap one from Walmart, which did the job. But with the demand of orders and cutting and stuff that I got after a little while, I moved up. I moved up in life, y'all, and got me a D-wall. My blades, you want to make sure that they are T-shaped blades. I was really big. Let me find my blades. What did I do with them? Might not be able to show y'all my blades because I'm not seeing them anywhere. Oh, here they are right there in front of my face. I used to be really big on name brand when it came to my blades. It was Bosch, Bosch, Bosch. But now I'm really big on the type of blades that you use. The name brand, I still love my Bosch. I will say I like the Bosch better than these blades that I have now. But these were some that I got off of Amazon. They were actually suggested by one of the ladies in my Inside Scoop. And they're like so cheap, y'all. They were 50 blades for like $18. But this part here, the top of your blade, it kind of reminds me of a filbert tip paintbrush. It curves. Kind of like a U. Kind of goes with its name. It's a U-shaped blade. I mean, a T-shaped blade. The reason for that is because you got this here and you got that little crossing there. Can y'all see that little crossing? So it just kind of seems like a T-shaped blade. They have what they call a U-shaped blade that actually looks like a U. So instead of it being a point here, it curves down into a U. Those blades will tear your wood up. When I started off using those blades, and my brother actually introduced me to the T-shaped blades. The U-shaped blades, they had me to where I was drawing my templates upside down because the bottom was smoother than the top. So what I would do is I would flip my pattern upside down, and then when I got it cut, flip it over, and that would be the top. And the reason that those U-shaped blades don't cut as smooth as these T-shaped blades is because of the teeth. You could buy a U-shaped blade and a T-shaped blade, both with 20 TPI. 20 TPI is teeth per inch. But there's still going to be a huge difference, and it's because of the way the teeth on their blades are made on there. So with a T-shaped blade, their teeth, they're not just zig, 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 side by side. They are kind of like stacked. You got one here, then here, then here, then here, like front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back. That is what I have figured out, and that's why I feel like the T-shanks cut smoother. So, T-shank blaze is a must. 20 TPI is a must. And make sure that it says clean scroll for wood. You want to make sure that it is a narrow blade, and it's not one of those like 2-inch or not 2-inch sump blades. They're like there's a like a thicker blade.
Me and Eli's going with Bubba to go to eat at Daniel's, okay?
They're eating now?
Yeah, we're going over there.
Okay.
Are y'all going?
I guess.
I love you.
I love you too. Y'all be careful. Put your seatbelts on.
Hey.
So, I will share a link to these. Hey, Jerry. Sander. Y'all, a lot of... Whoa, Jesus, I'm breaking things up. This is a Hyper Tough. This is one that I picked up from Walmart. It has the sandpaper that has the Velcro on it, so it's like easy switch out. And it's like circular. It turns when you're sanding. Sandpaper I use between 120, 180 to 220. Depends on how rough my cuts are, and it depends on what kind of project I'm doing. Most of the time, 220 is perfect for a door hanger. If you use sandpaper that the grit is too thick and too gritty, it's not going to make your door hanger sand quite as smooth. The 220 is kind of like a finishing sandpaper. It's going to really get those edges smooth. But if you try your best to cut with your grain, use the right type of blades, and I feel like even the speed on your jigsaw helps as well. The faster you can go with your blade, the smoother the cut's going to be. It's just my opinion. So that's going to help. That's all of this has got to factor in how smooth your cuts are going to be. And how sturdy you have your wood. A lot of people uses the horse sawhorses. I don't use those. I have an old like plastic patio table because I feel like and I'm all about my feelings here, y'all. But it makes my wood, it has more sturdier because I have a more solid piece, something more solid I can lay my wood on. If any way possible, you can keep half of your wood onto your table or your, a piece of your sawhorse to help your wood from bouncing and shifting and just jerking. That's going to help with a smoother cut as well. And y'all, it does take practice. It takes practice. I didn't start with zooming through my door hangers and they being perfect. It takes practice. The more you do it, the easier you're going to find it each time you do it. Alrighty. Sandpaper sander, jigsaw, blades, wood. You can use a regular drill with a drill bit. I mean, I have like this Porter cable here drill. I don't have like a drill bit in it. I've just got like a flathead screwdriver bit in there. You can use a drill, but get you a drill bit similar to this one and put in your drill, and you can use this to drill your holes. You don't have to get a Dremel. This is a Dremel 4000. I bought this when I first wanted to try to do the 3-letter monograms because I thought I was going to be a genius and sit there and cut them out with this. Well, that didn't work out for me. So since I had it, I use it now to just put the holes in it to put my wire for my hangers. But you don't have to go out there and buy a Dremel. If you have a drill, it will do the job. Alrighty. Miss Jerry, Tammy, am I missing anything? Y'all ladies are my insiders, so I know you're really familiar with this kind of stuff. Am I missing anything? Jigsaw, blaze, drill, sander, pencil, wood, template, sandpaper. I think we're good. Of course, it never hurts to have a tape measure on hand if you want to see what size your door hanger is. All right, so we're going to get started. So what I'm going to show you first is I'm going to show you how you can make a cut when you're not comfortable making a turn yet. It's called almost like a reverse and turn kind of thing. All right, let me get a scrap piece of wood. I'm going to demonstrate this really quick for y'all. This was something that I did in the template club. Oh, for my ladies in there. So I'm just going to show y'all real quick. But if you're new to cutting, I can't think of anything you are missing. Okay, good, Tammy. If you do, just let me know because you know how I am sometimes. So this is what I show my ladies in my template club. If you're new to cutting, practice different cuts. Just until you get, the feel of a jigsaw. The way it feels when you do a curve or wiggly line. The way it feels just to cut a straight line. The way it feels to do a zigzag line. And so that's what I want you to do. If you're new, practice. Get you some scrap wood. If you're new, then you probably don't have scrap wood. If you go get you a piece of 4x8 sheet, ask Home Depot or Lowe's, wherever you go, ask them if they have any kind of 1/4 inch scrap wood that they have discounted, on clearance or something. I don't know. But if not, cut you a small piece off your 4x8 and just practice with it. So what I want to show you is sometimes making curves can be the biggest fear about cutting a door hanger because you're scared to death to make that turn. And that's typical. That's totally normal, y'all. You have to wonder, okay, Lord knows, how am I going to make that turn without making it too wide and messing up my cut? So you do not have to do turns. If you have an area to where it's impossible, y'all, because there's some spots that's impossible to take that jigsaw and turn it. So there is a reverse and curve to do that. That's going to be my new thing for it. Reverse and curve. So what you're going to do is when you're on a line, when you're cutting on a line and you got a curve that comes this way and you're not comfortable, let me just draw this a little bit thicker so y'all can see this. Can y'all see that now? I did it. Went over. Okay. So if you're not comfortable just going here and making this turn, when you're using a jigsaw, you're not going to make a pointed turn. If you make this turn, it's still going to be rounded off a little bit. It's not going to have that point. So don't even try to do it because I don't think it's possible just to make a complete square, turn and have that point there. It's going to be rounded off a little bit. But this is where the reverse and curve comes in. So when you get on this line here and you're making this cut and you're thinking, oh goodness, what in the world am I going to do? Because how can I make this turn there? What you're going to do is you're going to reverse. You're going to take your blade and you're not going to have it going. You're just going to slide your blade back and you're going to curve it up there on your line and go ahead and start getting on this line here. So did y'all see that? Reverse and curve and get back on your line up there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to come back and then you'll cut that little piece off that you left there. Because where you make that curve at, it's going to leave a piece of wood there. So when you get back up here, you're just going to come back and you're going to cut that little piece of wood off. Does that make sense, y'all? So the reverse and curve is about the only way I can figure out how to do those impossible turns with a jigsaw. All right, so we're going to get started. And if y'all have any questions at all, y'all let me know. So I've already got my knoll drawn out with my pencil onto my wood. Can y'all see it there? Looks like it's hard to see on my end. All right. And now, let me see. my table is so, I got my table saw, my miter saw over there, so it's got half my table covered. All right. I'm going to move some of these potatoes, y'all. Good Lord. If a rat jumps out at me, y'all hear me screaming, y'all know there's a rat. Oh. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to zoom y'all in a little bit. All right, can y'all see that okay? All right, so, so with this known, I brought the one that's pan out here. The bottom of our heart, it is curved. It is not to a point. But if you want to make that a point, you can go straight off and straight off. You don't have to curve that, but mine is to a curve. I've only tried to cut one time. My hubby is trying to teach me. Miss Cindy, you got it, girl. Just practice and listen to your husband. I know that's hard sometimes, but if he's familiar with the jigsaw, just listen to him. Watch him. Watch him cut a few times and see how he handles it. I promise you, it will help. But it's very sweet that he's trying to help you, so there you go. All right, so I'm putting this here so y'all can kind of see a little bit better. So I got it on my design here. You're going to try to find a starting point. It is. So I think I'm going to start from up here on his hand part. Let's start on the side of his heart. So I'm going to start here on his heart. I'm going to come down where his little hand is. I'm going to come around. When I get down here to the bottom of this heart, I'm going to go ahead and make a curve up. This is where if you don't want to make this curve, you don't have to. If you want to come from his little hand to his heart here, come here, and you can go ahead and cut that completely off. Then you can come back up here, and you can come back in that way and give it a complete point on the bottom of this heart. Either way is fine, but I will do my curve, and then I will be coming all the way around this foot, and I'm going to stop up here on his sleeve where his little hand's at. This is going to be kind of like a reverse kind of thing if you want it to stay in this line, but we may come off the side of this wood, get back on his hand, or we may even start back up here. I'm not sure yet. Or we may just go ahead and go this way. I don't know yet. We will see, y'all. And that's the thing, y'all, is when you start the cutting, it's going to depend on exactly where you're going to cut next and stuff. It's really going to kind of depend on your space. Like I don't have a lot of space out here because we got sweet potatoes here that's hitting my wood there. I've got my miter saw over here that's got half my table. So I don't have a lot of space that I can kind of walk around and get, my cuts. So the bigger your space is, the easier it's going to be to get on different sides of your wood, to come in from a different angle to cut your wood. This is helpful watching you. Hey, yay with Sandy. I'm so happy. So hopefully I'm going to learn you a little bit during this tutorial. All right, so what I'm going to do, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off the side of this heart, coming down. While I'm cutting this, the bottom of my gnome, his whole hat and everything is on my table to help it more sturdy, to stay more sturdy. Sturdier. There we go. Okay. If it ain't a word, we just made it a word, y'all. Alrighty, so here we go. One big tip. Oh, my drop cord don't want to stay in there. One big tip is before you get started, you want to make sure your blade is going before you go into your wood. Don't put your blade touching your wood, then get it started. Get it started first, right there at your wood, and then go into it after your blade's going. Okay? Because if you try to start it on the wood, it might jerk on you, and we don't want that to jerk. All right, so we're gonna get our blade started and we're gonna cut. We're gonna come all the way around and we're gonna stop here, y'all. Can y'all see this? I'm sorry if y'all can't see the, I wonder if I got a piece of chalk out here. Let me see. Oh, I do got a piece of chalk. Let me see if y'all can see the white better. Can y'all see that white? Oh, y'all can see that white better. So there. Can y'all can see that white better? Dun dun dun. Yes. Okay. All right, so we're gonna start up here. We're gonna come here. So this is my friends, gonna help y'all see what I'm doing better and what lines I'm on. There we go. Hot diggity dog, y'all can see that good. All right. Yes, much better. Okay, whew. All righty, here we go. Gonna get my blade started and we're gonna go into this cut. Goodness. I want you to notice that I'm always with my other hand holding my wood, and a lot of times I'll take this hand and I kind of use it to help move my wood as I'm cutting. Kind of like you would if you was using a like a scroll saw. You know, you're moving that wood with the blade if you can. To a area to where you can't, like your hands behind your jigsaw, go ahead and stop. Kind of get it so your hand can be in front of your jigsaw to guide your wood and to help you have more control. Okay? When you come to a stop, make sure your blade comes to a complete stop before you pull it out. When you're making turns, ladies, you have control of your trigger. You are controlling the speed of your blade. All you have to do is release that trigger a little bit to slow your blade down when you're making a turn. Or if you're getting off of your line, slow your blade down and slowly get back onto your line. Yes, the white is better. I just cut my gnome out and he's ready to go. Yay, Shauna! All right, girl. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start back over here where we started. Sorry for that noise, y'all. That was probably like a chalkboard there. And I'm going to get back on my line and I'm going to cut all the way up here until his little hat starts. That's his hat, right? Yeah, that's his hat. All right? I need to go back this way. Now, when you're starting a cut from a cut already, and what I mean by that is this cut's already started. Right here is where it starts. So I'm not going to take my jigsaw and I'm not going to start this cut right here where it left off at. That will kind of leave like a little hump there, and you don't want that. So what I always do is I kind of like start a little bit back and I skim my wood. Like just a tiny bit. Skim my wood and get into my cut, like on my line, and start this cut again. Does that make sense? I'm always asking, does that make sense? Okay, so here we go. We're not going to start completely on that line. We're going to skim that wood a little bit if something like this gets in your way. break that sucker off and get it out of your way. Don't let it irritate you and like just distract you. All right, so now that I'm coming this way and I'm using my right hand, my other free hand is gonna be behind my cut because I'm going the opposite direction. That's kind of weird because I just told you to make sure that your hand's, you know, in front of you. But if I was to come this way, then it's totally different. Y'all will get the feel of it. But being that it's this, you know, I'm going this way now, this hand's automatically going to be behind me just because it's not comfortable reaching over your jigsaw. That blocks your view too, so it's not good to reach over. When I was cutting this way, I wasn't reaching over my jigsaw. This way, I would have to reach over, y'all. So my free hand is going to be holding my wood behind it, and I'm still going to be able to guide it because I'm behind my jigsaw. All right, so here we go. We're going to skim it, get on there, and go up to the head. Can y'all see it still here? Notice I'm walking around. I'm not just standing in one spot trying to get all my cuts. Move around. Walk with your cuts if you can. That's just going to help it go a little bit more easier. Let it come to a complete stop. Pull that blade up. All right, so what I'm thinking is I'm going to start from here on his hat, and where we just left that cut, I'm going to start on his hat with the cut, and I'm going to come and meet the cut where we just stopped at. I call those clean cuts because it's from this cut to this cut, and it's just a clean cut. There's no curve or anything, a clean cut. So we're going to do that clean cut here. So we're going to put our blade, get it going. I got to close that thing there. There we go. And we're going to go in there, and then we're going to stop at that cut. Here we go. Now, when I was getting close and was just about right there at that cut, I released my trigger to slow my blade down because I didn't want that to continue going wide open because I was more likely going to cut it a little bit further, like too deep in that cut. So when you're starting to get to a stopping point, release your trigger a little bit. That's going to help you have better control over it. So when I done that, this piece was cut off, so I'm just going to throw it over here. Do I have any questions so far? All right, so now what I'm thinking is going to happen is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to start on his hat. We're going to cut that sucker all the way around, and we're going to finish this cute little gnome off. So we're going to do all of this, and then we're going to stop here. This up here at the top with his hat, this is a pretty tight turn. If you're not okay with this turn and you're not comfortable with this turn, do the reverse and turn on this. So what you would do, you're cutting here, we're going zzz, we're cutting. We're going to stop, we're going to reverse it, we're going to turn, and we're going to get here, and we're going to go ahead and cut it out here. Then we'll come back and we'll get that little nudge that we leave there. But I'm going to turn and make this turn here, but do the reverse and turn if you need to there. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right. No, we're not. I don't know why this thing won't stay where it needs to stay. I need to make a knot around it so it don't come undone. All right. Making sure I'm in camera. All right, I'm gonna adjust my whole body. I've adjusted my hand. I'm gonna move my hand up here to kind of hold my gnome a little bit further, like closer to where my jigsaw's at. Because the sturdier the wood is at the place that you're cutting, the smoother your cuts are gonna be, and the less likely your wood's gonna jerk on you. Okay? I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off so I don't be having to do this. Let me see, even if I cut it off, well, no, I'm not, because even if I cut it off, then I'm gonna have to turn this way, and then y'all probably won't be able to see the cut that way. Okay. It's a whole lot easier when you're not trying to stay in camera. All right, here we go. Let's try this out, y'all. I was totally on my cord. Like, not cutting it, but my jigsaw was on my cord. All right, so now it's like, oh. So I'm going to take this hat, and if I wasn't trying to record, I probably would have went ahead and cut that off and shifted to the other side, so it would have been easier for me to finish this cut. But being that I'm recording and I need y'all to see this, I stayed on this side. So since, I mean, this is getting pretty flimsy, and this whole top of his hat is cut off, I don't want to take any chances of this bouncing and vibrating on me, so I'm going to scoot this tip of his hat to where it's on my table. That's going to help it keep my wood a little bit more sturdier, so it's going to help my cuts. Where are we at? Y'all can still see that. So here we go. And as I'm cutting, I'm going to be pushing my board onto my table. All right, if you have a cord, jigsaw with a cord, you want to make sure that this cord don't get caught. This cord is so easy to get caught, like on your wood, and when it does, I mean, you would think someone's sitting there holding that jigsaw so you can't push it. Make sure that your cord is loose so it helps you be able to keep on flowing with your cuts. Like my jigsaw was just getting in between my table and my piece of wood, and it wouldn't hardly let me go. That could cause you to like mess your cuts up too. So we're gonna give my cord a little bit of slack, and we're gonna try to get this right here. All right, so I'm gonna turn it this way. We've got just a little bit of cutting left to do. I'm going to put the rest of my gnome on top of my table, and I'm going to finish this cut here. Again, now I'm cutting this side. Sorry. So now my hand's back behind my jigsaw. You just adjust yourself with your cuts, ladies. Okay. Anytime too, you're gonna, when you know you're fixing to make that very last cut and you know it's gonna be detached from the rest of your wood, be sure that you either have your cut piece sitting on a table so it doesn't fall to the ground, or either you're holding it with your other hand so it doesn't fall. Because if you just let it fall, especially, I mean, if you're cutting outside and you got the grass or whatever, it probably won't break. But there's still a chance that it would, you know, land on the hat the wrong way, or, you know, just chip it somehow. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Dremel and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drill my holes. I want y'all to see this. Now this, ladies, which now my blade's probably not the sharpest. This is not the smoothest cuts at all. So there is some sanding that I have to do. See how this is kind of rigged? It's splintered up there. But when you get that sander on there, it's gonna knock that right off. But I normally don't have hardly no sanding. That's really a bad cut. So my blade, if I know for a fact that most of my cuts are smoother than this, then that should, you know, set an alarm that, like raise a flag that my blade's probably getting dull. And I've been using that blade for a while now, so it's probably getting pretty dull. All right, so ladies, so when we try to determine where our holes need to be, what I like to do is I like to get my door hanger and I hold it with my index fingers and my thumbs. So I hold it like this and see when my gnome is level, when it's standing straight. If I take this finger, it's going to be slanted just a little bit. So you're going to, that's really slanted. So I know I don't want my two holes there. So you're just going to adjust your fingers. And again, I use my index fingers and my thumbs until I feel like it's straight. So here and here is where I feel like I need to put my holes. If you want to, you can get you a pencil. Mark it. Come back, make sure. Okay. I think I'm going to go a little bit over. Mark your holes if that'll help you out. If you're using a Dremel, Dremels is definitely something you have to get used to as well, ladies. These Dremels can get away from you like crazy. It does, like, they do have a piece that kind of looks like a cone that you can put on the end that'll help you have better control of it. But with this drill bit, what I tell my ladies is, time as you get your hole and it goes through your piece of wood, goes through the other side of your wood, you pull it out. You do not want to take this one, if you're using a Dremel, you do not want to take this and go all the way down and pull it up. Because what's going to happen is you're going to take it all the way down. That drill bit is going to get kind of happy and it's going to say woohoo, and it's going to make you a big old hole. I don't know why it does that, but it just gets away from you really easy with this. So time as it goes in, we're going to go in and out, in and out. And I've got all of my gnome. I think y'all can still see it right there. I've got all of my gnome on my wood, on my table to keep it sturdy. When I go down, I'm going to be holding my Dremel like this. I'm going to go in and out, in and out. You can kind of feel it and you can kind of hear it when it goes through the back side. In and out. Alright, so there's our holes. With the wire I use, they do not have to be big holes. That Dremel, it'll tear your wood up just a little bit, but not a lot. Again, my favorite wood is birch. You don't hardly have none of this with birch. Like, oh my goodness. Birch, y'all, cuts so smooth. But you're going to pay for that smooth cuts too. Alright, we're going to put our sander, we're going to plug our sander up. And this sandpaper's about had it. So when I'm sanding, I don't pick my wood up and get like straight on the edge. What I do is sometimes I leave it on the table and kind of just lift a little bit up. And I kind of put it at a diagonal. I kind of slant it. Like you can go from the top of your surface and hit it but you want to like just slant it just a little bit so you can get the very edge of your cut there. Just like that. So not like this, not like this. Slant it just a little bit to get that cut. And then I will go over my whole piece. So I'll show you that really quick. That sun is beaming like crazy through this window, y'all. Okay? That a little bit more because I tend to be an over sander because I really like mine to be smooth. I don't like to risk anybody getting a splinter from the edge of my wood. So y'all, we cut out our cute little Valentine's gnome together. Hey, Miss Susie. Let me lift y'all up so y'all I can see y'all. So here it is, ladies. So did this seem hard to y'all? And I'm probably so if you've never cut it anything, y'all, it probably looks a lot harder than it really is. And it's gonna be different. Until you get used to the jigsaw, you're probably gonna let that jigsaw control you. But remember, you are the one that's controlling that jigsaw. That jigsaw can't go anywhere if you don't guide it. That's one other thing. Let me go ahead and tell y'all before I forget. When you're cutting, if you're cutting and you're feeling like you're having to force your cuts, and like a lot of times like this part of your arm here, it gets to where it feels like you've just been exercising all day, then that's probably because your blade needs to be switched out. That means you've got a dull blade. Go ahead and switch it out. You should not have to force your jigsaw through your wood. Those little teeth and the speed of that jigsaw, it should, kind of like a knife. Well, I mean, a knife, you kind of have to do this and cut through a steak, so no bad example. I don't know, kind of like what, y'all? I don't know, but you want to guide it. Of course, you're going to push it, but you're not going to, like, force it. Does that make sense? If you're feeling like you're having to really force that blade, like I said, switch that blade out. No, this was a pretty easy cut. Yay, Miss Shauna. It was pretty easy. I did not find it to be hard at all. But for those that's brand spanking new to door hangers, Like I said, you control that jigsaw. Don't let the jigsaw control you. If you can't do these turns, do that reverse and turn or reverse and curve for every area that has a little bit of a turn. Use that technique. That's going to make it a whole lot easier. I'm pretty set on doing the tutorial for Sunday afternoon. I hope that works out for all of you ladies. I was going to do it tomorrow, but then I feel like I need to give some of y'all ladies time to actually, like, because a lot of people don't get out until the weekend. And that's going to give you ladies time to have the whole weekend to go get your wood, get it, you know, if you don't even have a jigsaw, you'll be able to go get your jigsaw. You'll be able to get your door hanger cut out. Then you can be ready to paint with me Sunday. If you paint with me Sunday, a lot of people, they like to watch them paint on a replay. So, like a razor blade through paper. There you go, Miss Susie. There you go. So do y'all ladies have any kind of questions at all for me? If you're watching this on replay, if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments, post them in the group, or you can send me a private message. But I would really prefer you to post it in the group. That way everybody else that is in the group can see. Because sometimes people don't feel comfortable posting questions. So they just kind of sit there and wonder. And if you be the brave one and you post your question, then they could be like, oh, yes, I need an answer to that too. So post your questions in the group if you can. I might cut some more if this weather holds up here. Shauna, what kind of weather are y'all having? Our weather is the sun's shining, the wind's blowing, and it's in the 40s. It's been super cold today. Yesterday, y'all, we were like up in almost in the 70s. And now today it's in the 40s. And I'm getting congested. So, I hope y'all have enjoyed this. I hope I've gave you some kind of little nugget you can take along with you. And you learned something. I hope I've helped you feel like you can really do this, y'all, because I know you can. I know you can do this. When I first started door hangers, I didn't even know what a jigsaw was. Seriously, I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know jigsaw existed. It snowed 3 inches last night. You were in Ohio. Oh my goodness. Hey, Miss Grace. I'm so jealous of you people with snow. Oh goodness. Well, y'all enjoy the snow. I know those that gets it every year, y'all don't really like it, but us southern people in South Carolina, we don't hardly ever get snow. So, yep, that's it, ladies. I'm going to let you get off of here. Y'all have a fantastic weekend. Be safe. Please be safe and keep all those little fingers during your cutting. And again, ladies, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I will be seeing y'all Sunday. And it will be Sunday afternoon. I will give y'all a heads up. So we'll see y'all later.